Joining us this morning is Dr. Rick Schultz with Scott and White Round Rock Hospital. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. I know you hit a little bit of rain, so we're glad you made it safe.
We did.
So let's first go down the list of the most common sports injuries, even when you're just out and about.
Sure. I think the biggest thing to remember is that when you're out in the summer heat is probably the one thing we can't get away from in Texas normally this time of the year is sun. Now we've had a lot of rain recently, but I think getting used to the weather, acclimatizing yourself, so spending gradually a little bit more time out in the heat instead of making a big change all at once. And then probably the most important thing is staying well hydrated. So having plenty of water on board and making sure that you have plenty of water available for both you and your kids is probably the most important thing for the heat. The other thing is that when we all get out in the summertime, we just get more active, which is great. We need to get out and move around. But a lot of times we pull out the bicycles, we pull out the skateboards. Probably the most important thing is you need to make sure that yourself and your kids are wearing helmets. And of course, very difficult to tell your kids to wear a helmet if you're not going to wear one. So you need to lead by example. You know, it may be worth going down and buying a helmet for everybody, but that's probably the most important thing. If you can prevent a head injury on those bikes or skateboards, that could just be a life-saving investment.
For sure. Don't worry about trying to look cool.
No.
Safety is cool.
Well, you know, and the nice thing now is if you go into, especially around Austin, they have all kinds of different decorations for these helmets and everything else, so you can satisfy your fashion consciousness as well as be safe at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. They're getting pretty fancy these days.
Yes.
So let's talk about, say, if you have an injury or you turn your ankle or something goes wrong, you know, and you've got to take pain relievers if those come into the picture. What is the best thing to remember when taking pain relievers? How much is too much, and what are the safer types out there?
Sure. I think, you know, the first thing is probably kind of trying to decide, is this an injury that you can kind of manage on your own and either manage for yourself or for your child, or do you really need to go in and have a doctor take a look at this, or having somebody help you take a look at it? And, you know, I think actually the over-the-counter medicines are a pretty good measure. If you can take a couple of Tylenol or a couple Advil or something along those lines and sleep through the night comfortably, get up and be able to walk, probably that injury is more kind of in the sprain or strain area. If you take a couple over-the-counter pain relievers, use a little ice, and you can't get to sleep or your child can't sleep through the night without a lot of complaining, that's probably telling you something else a little bit more is going on. So I actually think, you know, kind of jokingly, you know, with the kids, if you can fix it with a bag of M&Ms, it's probably not a big problem.
I like that.
But if you give them a regular dose of medicine and they can't get comfortable and they're coming back to you that they're crying or they can't get comfortable, I think that's a pretty good sign that that's probably something you need to let somebody else take a look at.
Yeah, good to know. Also, we're almost out of time. You think you said this earlier, but it doesn't hurt to say it again. Water.
Absolutely.
Water.
Remember, yeah, it's going to get hot soon. The rain's going to lay off, and we're going to need to have plenty of fluids on board.
All right, Doc. Thank you so much for coming in this morning and for getting here safely in the rain.